Hi everyone, my name is Amy Wang. I'm the volunteer coordinator for the San Francisco Pathways to Citizenship Initiative. I'm also a staff attorney at the International Institute of the Bay Area. First of all, thank you all for being willing to volunteer for our mega naturalization workshop. We're expecting a large turnout, so any help we can get is greatly appreciated. I am going to go over a brief orientation of what to expect at the workshop and how things are structured. Hopefully by the end you'll have a better idea of what it'll be like the day of the event. Okay, so first a quick overview of the stations. The entire day will be broken down into various stations. Each of you will be assigned to a different one. Each station will have station leads who you will be introduced to the day of the workshop and who you can direct your questions to that day. This is going to be a real brief overview. A more in-depth training will take place either in person the day of the event or via webinar, depending on which station you're in. So there's no pre-registration at this event. It is purely first come, first serve. When participants arrive, they will be greeted at the front of the building by pre-screeners who will be conducting a soft screening outside. During the soft screening, participants will be asked whether they have brought their green card or at least a copy of it, as well as whether the intended applicant himself or herself is physically present. If the participant doesn't have his green card or if the applicant himself isn't actually there that day, the pre-screeners will ask the participant to come back to a future workshop. If both criteria are met, however, the participant will proceed inside the building for a hard pre-screening where the participant will be checked to see whether they meet the 3 or 5 year residency requirement for naturalization. Only after these two pre-screening levels are passed will the participant be able to register for the workshop. At registration, each participant will be handed a packet, which we'll go over in a little bit. After registration, participants will head to Station 1 for screening. Screeners are the ones who determine whether or not a participant is eligible for naturalization and who identify those who need a consultation with an immigration attorney or BIA representative. Those would be people who may or may not have issues that make them ineligible for citizenship or just have a more complex case that can't be handled at a group workshop such as this one. The next station is Station 2, Attorney Consultation, which will be manned by immigration attorneys and BIA reps who have naturalization experience. The attorneys and BIA reps will take a look at the issues the participant has and determine whether they can move forward during the event or have a more complex case that will need to be handled outside the workshop, or whether they even qualify for naturalization at all. If everything is okay, the participant will head to Station 3 for form filling. At Station 3, volunteers will be helping participants fill out the N400 application as well as the fee waiver form if the participant qualifies for it. There is a filing fee of $680 for naturalization, but if certain conditions are met, an applicant may actually qualify for a fee waiver. At this particular workshop, because we are partnering with the Human Services Agency of San Francisco, we will only be helping participants fill out fee waivers if they receive a means-tested benefit. HSA will actually be present the day of the workshop to help participants print out proof of their means-tested benefit if the participant forgot to bring theirs. After all the forms are filled out, the participant will move on to Station 4, which is final review. This is where an attorney or BIA rep will review the entire application from the fee waiver, the N400 form, and even the screening materials as well, just to make sure one more time that everything looks okay and the participant can mail out their application. This is also where they can catch what's still missing in terms of information or documentation. The last station is Station 5, checkout. Every participant will go through Station 5 regardless of whether they actually filled out a form or not. For those who make it through the entire process, at Station 5, they will receive instructions regarding filing and also a reminder of what's still missing, if anything. For participants who don't make it through the entire workshop, they will be given a referral list as well as resources for whatever they need to get or do before they can qualify for naturalization. Really quick on station procedures. As I mentioned previously, every station will have an entrance lead and multiple exit leads. Some stations will also have floaters who are legal experts. All station leads and floaters will be wearing different color sashes so that you can pick them out from afar. There will be flags provided at every station for volunteers to flag down the station leads. The green flag lets the entrance lead know that you are free for the next participant. The red flag lets the exit lead or floaters know that you have a question. The yellow flag lets the exit leads know that you are done with the participant and they can come collect the participant from you. Now, never send a participant off on their own because we want to make sure that they are escorted at all times. We will have runners the day of the workshop to help escort participants from a station to the next. So now we're going to go into the basic packet that each participant will receive at registration. This is the tracking sheet. This is the single most important document of the entire event. The tracking sheet allows us to keep track of where a participant has been and where he or she is off to next. Every volunteer will be handling this form in some way, so everyone should familiarize themselves with this document. The tracking sheet is divided, as you can see, into different sections. Each station section has a simplified checklist of what tasks need to be completed at that particular station, as well as a little space for notes. When a participant is finished at a particular station, the volunteer helping the participant must initial the tracking sheet in their station section and also note down the number of the station that the participant is headed to next under the Go To station box. Also very important is the timestamp. Volunteers must jot down the time that a participant finished at a particular station. The timestamp is important because it is how we keep track of the order in which participants will be served at each station. This is the intake form. It includes all the basic information that we need not just for our reporting purposes, but for eligibility screening as well. This form will be primarily dealt with by screeners at Station 1 and also by attorneys and BIA reps at Stations 2 and 4. This is the red flag screening form. This is what we use to flag potential issues that may or may not cause a participant to be unable to apply for naturalization. Again, this form will be primarily used by screeners at Station 1 and also by attorneys and BIA reps. Any yes answers will require a deeper look by an attorney or BIA rep at attorney consultation. There's 2 pages. At the end of the second page, the participant signs to certify that all their answers are truthful. This is the limited legal services agreement that we ask every participant to read and sign. We have it in English as well as in Spanish and Chinese. Basically, it says that each participant understands that they are not actually being legally represented by the attorney or the volunteer that is helping them at the event, and that they are responsible for filing the application. We just help them fill out the forms. What they do after they leave the event is their own responsibility. Next, we're going to look into the logistics of the day. Here is the address of the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium where the mega workshop will take place. I'm sure everyone knows that parking in the city is not easy, so we strongly encourage volunteers to take public transportation. The Civic Auditorium is actually really close to the Civic Center BART station, so that's really easy and completely stress-free. All volunteers are expected to arrive the day of at 8 a.m. I know it's really early, but we want to make sure there's enough time for everyone to check in and get situated before the first group of participants are let in at 9 a.m. When you arrive, please follow the signs to the volunteer room for check-in. As usual, breakfast and lunch will be provided. Very, very important, please bring a time-telling device, whether it's a watch or a cell phone. As I mentioned earlier, we need volunteers to have one for the purpose of the timestamp. Depending on how many participants show up, we may end around 5 or 6 o'clock. We get the question of dress code quite often, and the answer is that it's casual. We're pretty laid back here. Just nothing too revealing. That's pretty common sense. You really don't need to come in a suit or anything like that. A big thing, however, is confidentiality. After the event, volunteers must maintain confidentiality of all personal information so that they will come in contact with through working with participants. Such information will include names, addresses, phone numbers, legal status, marital status, and so on. And of course, our workshop is not the time or place for you to be distributing private business cards, so please leave those at home. And needless to say, we also ask all volunteers to interact with participants, staff, and other volunteers in a respectful and professional manner. So that's the end of the orientation. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And if something comes up and you can no longer make it to the workshop, no worries, just contact me so that I know not to expect you. Thanks everyone, and see you at the workshop.